Journalist Murray Fisher published a story, hotly disputed by the Chandlers, that Evan had given his son sodium amytal, a psychiatric drug used to elicit memories.
The effects are not reliable in terms of testimony from a person.
The brainwashing theory with the drugs, yeah, that was a good one. Where would he get access to a drug like that? But even if he did, in less than an hour, he plants a story in the boy's head. It's a story that goes on for months and months and months in detail about every place they traveled, every room they were in, every sexual act they did, where it was, how it happened. I mean, you know, how's a boy supposed to remember this? It's absurd.
Evan Chandler had his confession. His son had confirmed his suspicions. But still the father made no attempt to contact the authorities. His final move was the most surprising of all, even in Hollywood. He opened negotiations with Michael Jackson for a $20 million motion picture deal. The outside world had no idea of the time bomb now ticking. 2 days later, Michael Jackson agreed to a secret meeting with Evan Chandler at the Westwood Hotel in Beverly Hills.
Basically, it was the last time that Michael ever saw Jordan Chandler, and Evan said that he was going to bring Michael down for molesting his son. Put it right out there at the meeting.
In the end, they couldn't reach any kind of mutual agreement. And had they been able to, the interesting thing about it is this case would have never gone beyond this room.
Evan stormed out and took Jordy with him, and Michael just, broke down. But to be told that you are going to be ruined, to be told that everything that you worked for in your life is now over, that your life is over, was devastating for Michael Jackson.
I will get everything I want, and they will be destroyed forever. They will be destroyed. June is going to lose Jordy. She will have no right to ever see him again.
Yeah.
That's a fact, Dave. That's what's
Does that help?
Michael's career will be over.
Does that help Jordy?
Michael's career will be over.
And does that help Jordy?
That's irrelevant to me.
And does that help Jordy?
That's irrelevant to me.
In my mind, if my son is being molested by somebody, I am going to kick his ass and make sure he goes to jail. I am not going to try to get a movie development deal out of it.
The allegation was the most hideous thing that I think anyone could probably do to a child, and you're worried about money. There was never any mention about, I want justice. You have harmed my child, I want justice. It was only, I want the money.
The screenwriting deal was something that was offered by Michael's people. It was never accepted.
10 days of haggling brought no deal, and Evan still hadn't reported his son's claims. He was playing for time, and time was running out. June was on her way to court to win back her son. A bitter custody battle was coming up fast. Evan Chandler had to make his move. It would transform the fates of everyone involved, especially his son.
Evan Chandler, Jordy's dad, knew full well what he was doing, and he started the ball rolling.
They couldn't reach a deal, and then all hell broke loose.
Jordy's dad turned down Jackson's final offer of a film deal worth just $350,000, a fraction of his original demand. And he made an appointment for his son to see a psychiatrist. Now, for the first time, Jordan made detailed and damning allegations about how the relationship with Jackson had developed.
We just stayed in our room the whole day. Yeah, he took me.
There were very graphic details about the seduction this boy said he had been subjected to.
It got really bad after that.
The first kiss, and then the first kiss with the tongue in his mouth. And he pulled back and said, I don't like this. And Michael Jackson, according to the boy, began to cry. He said that Jackson told him All my special friends do this. What's the matter with you?
There was never any suggestion of anal sex, but the Geordie did claim that there was mutual masturbation and oral sex performed on him by Jackson.
He took us to Monaco.
Jordan was asked to repeat his claims again and again. First to the psychiatrist, then social workers, then police.
We believed the boy. The boy was credible. And not only did my officers believe them, but every time he was interviewed, he was consistent in his statements.
It was the word of one boy against the world's favorite Peter Pan. Within 72 hours, everyone would know the star famous for loving kids was accused of child sex abuse. All it took was a phone call.
I was asleep on a Sunday morning. The phone rang about 8 o'clock, and the voice of someone I knew very well was telling me that there was a search warrant that had gone down. I said, all right, was it anybody important or anything interesting? And he said, does the term Neverland mean anything to you?
Entertainer Michael Jackson is the subject of a criminal investigation. Officers armed with search warrants raided Jackson's ranch north of Santa Barbara.
We knew they had time to prepare. Our feeling was that it's a strong possibility that something was removed. There was one room dedicated to Jackson's videotape collection, and he had bookcases, built-in bookcases. In one section of those bookcases, there was no videotapes.
Police are not talking much about the investigation, refusing to say whether Jackson is a suspect or a victim.
The information that came out at first was so vague that it raised more questions than it answered. So the phones just started ringing with everyone saying, what is going on? And it was absolutely huge, because at that point all we knew was police had raided his house, but we didn't know why.
Within 24 hours, news was out.
Good evening. Michael Jackson is in Bangkok, Thailand tonight.
For him to be accused of this kind of crime was huge, huge, worldwide smashing news.
People were shocked. They couldn't believe that this young boy that we all watched grow up in the Jackson 5 could do something like this.
Back at home, his status as a pop icon is taking a beating.
Michael Jackson still isn't speaking for himself.
The kid at the center of this storm watched the same headlines. And the same press were now on his trail.
The big question is, who is the boy, where is the boy, and how did it happen?
Tabloid reporters around the world would pay any price to find out.
At that moment, I think all of Fleet Street loaded up all their money and put it in a 747 and flew it to the United States to start the buying of information.
It soon paid off. Reporters mobbed the suburb of Brentwood, all after one thing: a picture of Jordan.
I think the Inquirer beat us to the doorstep. Then we arrived, and we had it to ourselves for a little while, but then it just snowballed, and trucks were pulling up. A quiet suburban street was suddenly turned into, it looked like Houston Mission Control all of a sudden.
All the news crews descended on our street, and reporters were going up and down the street, knocking on all of our doors, trying to get someone to speak with them.
It is not known where the boy is tonight. We believe his father is at home behind me, but he has not been answering his phone or door.
We had never seen anything like this before, with all the news trucks and all the reporters and the 24-hour reports and our street on television. I mean, we were even on television. It was like such a crazy feeling, right?
10-year-old Kevin played with the alleged victim a lot this summer.
We're talking about Michael Jackson, except we once did see him go to his birthday party. You saw him? Yes.
It was really chaos here, kind of a party atmosphere, and chaos at the same time.
Inside Jordan's father's house, it was less of a festive atmosphere.
It was in the air. I mean, it was thick inside that house. Mentally, emotionally, and physically, it was a siege. Physically, it was a siege because you couldn't go out of the house. It was mostly the British tabloids who would invade your privacy. Most of the press was pretty good. They stayed on the public street, but the Brits don't seem to have much concern for that. So they're definitely the most aggressive.
Within 24 hours, Geordie's face was known all around the world.
Geordie didn't want any of this to happen. He was very much the reluctant party in all this. His hand was forced by the father.
Confused and scared was pretty much his. I mean, he didn't know what was going to happen to him or what was going to go. Well, he didn't know where the thing was going. I mean, the adults were confused and scared.
The family wasn't fair. They had a concern, and in my opinion, a right concern, a true concern of their safety. People didn't like the fact that Michael Jackson may go to jail because of the allegations made against him.
Fans